Yeah.
All right, guys, here we go. Week 4, flying high with the birds, Eagles talk. We're going to go in reverse order today. Today, with us, Goodwill Hunting, Sealy.
What's up, guys? Real mellow today. I'm real mellow today.
The Big V. It was 2-0 in the prediction rate. The Big Valuch.
What's up, guys? How's everyone doing?
And last but not least, the Armenian Hammer.
Hi, guys.
You got to throw it down today on that offense. And I'm Arm and Hammer. All right, week 4. Eagles lose to KC 42-30. Unlike last week, there were some positives. I would say that Hurts stepped it up a little bit with almost 400 yards passing, but he also missed on multiple touchdowns. I think I counted 5. So we're going to talk about that today, but he really, I see a definite improvement in him. Defense, same old thing. They can't stop anybody. They had, I think, 5 drives, 5 red zone drives, and they scored 5 times. They were 9 out of 10 on third down. They basically did whatever they wanted to do. It was, again, a meltdown by the defense, and the run defense especially was very, very porous, and something has to be done. But let's get right to it. Jimmy, you actually saw the game live. So in your opinion, what looked worse? Did the defense look worse live at the link or worse on TV last week?
It looks a lot worse when you rewatch it. You're like, whoa, what happened here? They have a big problem. They have a $54 million problem, and I hate to, have Fletcher Cox as a scapegoat, but when you're getting paid that money, you got to make some plays. I think in his last 2 games, what's he got? No sacks, no quarterback hits. I don't think he recorded a stat against Kansas City. Is that right?
No, nothing. 0.
I think I read a stat today. I'm trying to find it right here. Through 4 games this year, he's got 5 tackles, 0 for a loss, 0 sacks, 0 quarterback hits, and he does have a touchdown, but that was just being in the right spot at the right time.
Well, an interception, a pick.
Yeah, but
I'm sorry. I'm talking about Eric Wilson. Never mind.
Yeah, the fumble
We're
recovery.
about,
was it hard?
We're going to focus more on Cox, but I mean, what was it like down there? Were the fans just booing the whole time when they were running the ball? I mean, Edwards-Helaire seemed like he was doing whatever he wanted to do.
Yeah, I think everybody. It's funny because I got down there pretty early, and everyone's hanging out, tailgate talking, and everybody pretty much expected what was going. We're 9 out of 10 people expected exactly what was going to happen. I mean, a lot of people don't think they have a shot. I think a lot of people really don't believe in this team right now. It's evident they're starting to turn on the coaching staff already. And I know it's Philly. It's only 4 games in, but I mean, the crowd pretty much let you know how they felt by telling the coach to run the ball. It was interesting down there. A couple fights in the stands, but
I saw the one on Twitter.
It wasn't your typical Eagle game where everybody was fired up beginning of the game. Obviously beginning of the game, all the emotions, but by the end of the first quarter, the writing was pretty much on the wall, and the defense couldn't get off the field. The Eagles defense, they used to always set the tone back in the day, and when they're getting run all over and passed all over, it's tough to get a crowd into the game.
Well, let me ask all of you together. I mean, do you think that the problem on defense is that they're just not good enough? Do you think it's scheme, or do you think it's both?
I think we need to start valuing the linebacker position. And that should be very evident. Hopefully it opens some eyes in the organization.
Yeah, I agree. Eric Wilson really I just I can just turn my head with him. They said he had 10 tackles. The reason why he had 10 tackles was because probably 3 of the passes that were in the middle of the field were his guy that he ended up tackling. And the runner actually kind of ran into him a couple times when they got past the line of scrimmage. But what really annoyed me about him was when he got that pick and he ran into the end zone and started celebrating. My gut feeling on this whole thing is if you're not playing good, don't. That's embarrassing to start making a big scene. Act like you've been there before, that you've done it, in the past, and just try to play hard and act like you're mad that you should have gotten that before, and then get right back to the next thing. I just, you guys maybe can think of something different, but I don't like that mentality.
Now, what I'd say about the defense, Fletcher Cox he's really just he's not what he used to be, and it's a huge problem for how much we're paying him. But more alarming to me, I just rewatched the game twice, and the reason I watched it twice is because I couldn't believe what I was seeing. But we went an entire game with only blitzing the quarterback twice, and our defensive line had 0 stunts. We rushed 4 guys straight up every single play and only blitzed twice. That's almost as unheard of as handing the ball off 3 times in a game. Like, I can't believe, I don't even know if we have a defensive scheme at all. Like, do we? I have no clue what it is. I mean, it seems like peewee football, like we're just lining up out there and that's it. It's almost like the refs told, like a peewee game, the refs told you can't blitz. So we're just not doing it. I'm so I'm so discouraged after rewatching that game. And I want to put a lot of the blame on the players first, because what a lot of them are capable of. And then I'm looking at the tape and I'm just like, what are we doing to even put any of these guys in the right position to succeed? A lot of times when Fletch is, making his money, he's coming around the other defensive tackle, and he didn't do it one time the whole game, and he was never asked to do it. Apparently, it's just I don't know if we have a defensive scheme whatsoever. I don't know if you guys feel the same way, or do we have a defensive scheme at all?
I don't know. I think getting back to Cox, I think right now he's going through the motions. I mean, they extended his contract to 2025, so he's like kind of comfortable where he. Personally, he's just collecting a paycheck out there. I mean, I didn't see him do a darn thing, and I watched that game. Not only did I watch it live, but I watched it twice on Game Pass, and he was getting manhandled. I mean, and when there were double teams, it looked like he just knew he didn't have a chance and he just gave up. But this is a very interesting quote from Jimmy Kempski from Bleeding Green Nation. He said the stats on Cox: he was doubled on 7 runs. He was doubled on runs 7 times, and single block 12 times. On passes, he was double teamed 10 times and only single teamed and 17 times. He was easily handled by a single blocker, and the guy that was blocking him was a rookie, and he looked very disinterested in whenever he was double teamed. So it was very alarming. So it was obviously he had 0 stats in 4 games. He's got 5 tackles, none for a loss, no sacks. He doesn't even have a kid on the quarterback right now. To me, that's stealing money. And if they're going to have to put up with that for another 4 years, I mean, that's management. That's the way that I look at it. I don't know how you guys feel.
No, I agree. It's another Carson Wentz dead money.
Yeah, I can't agree more on, he's not producing at all. He's literally doing nothing out there. But no. I mean, that goes back to Harry Roseman, because he was declining last year. We basically all had these same conversations last year about Jason Peters. Yeah. I mean, Fletcher Cox too. We had these conversations about Fletcher Cox last year because he wasn't really producing, and you're seeing it even more now as he gets older. But again, we're not really putting him in a position to even get going. It's literally like we're just lining up 4 guys. I mean, he should absolutely be beaten when he's getting single blocked, but what the hell? Like, we're not doing anything.
I agree. Let's, we've been just going through defense, and I'm going to come back to the defense in a minute. Let's go to the offense. Bahe, give me your thoughts on Hurts' game. Do you think that Eagles are now going to spend that one of those first round picks on a QB next year? What do you think?
Well, I was watching the game over and over again, and only the offensive plays. And this is what he does. He gets the ball. He goes directly to his first read, whoever that person is, whether it's in play action or a throw. If that person is not open, he starts panicking, tries to scramble. And if somebody else opens up, he just runs. And you were asking me before, what's the deal with Rigger? So he only had 1 target, even though he played apparently 52 snaps, but he only had 1 target. And now when I was watching back again to see where is he, and I don't really see him that much on the field. Either he's not open, or he's not in the right place. And that's why maybe Hurts not going to him. You can tell he feels very comfortable with Smith. He feels comfortable with Goddard. And, those are his 2. And then obviously Sanders too. But those are his 3 targets. I mean, those are the people that he feels comfortable with. Is he smart enough to read defenses? I haven't seen that yet. He's all reacting to whatever the play is, regardless of what the defense is giving him. When he's not reading the defenses that well because he scrambles. He's a very athletic guy, obviously, but he's not. I don't think whether maybe he's not mature enough, but I don't think he really knows how to read the different things that the defense showing him. He's only focusing on the open guy, his first read, and that's it.
I think he's reverting back to that. I mean, he knew that one of the things that he needed to work on was go through his progressions, and it looked like he was like in an Atlanta game. He was really good doing that, but I think he's gotten more like he wants to take the game on himself if the first read isn't there. Maybe
He's not even trying to fool the defense. The minute the ball snaps, he looks right at his first read. That's it. He's not even trying to give them any gimmicks.
Look, there's a
right.
Go ahead, Vahe. Sorry.
So if that person is not open, so start scrambling to see if somebody else is open. If that's not open, then starts running. That's it. There's no thought process of, is there anything else I can do? So I don't know whether he's not smart enough to read defenses or, it comes with maturity. I don't know, but that's what he does.
What I noticed in the first missed overthrow to Ertz in the end zone, he basically took the snap, and I think it was either Goddard on the right side that he was staring down, and once he realized he was double covered, he just turned to Ertz and threw it, and it sailed it way over his head because it's basically like a panic. Like, he's not taking the look, following through, stepping into his throw. It's just like, oh, he's not there, I'm just going to toss this one.
Because the pocket was collapsing too at that play. I watched the play several times. The pocket was collapsing, and he panicked and just threw the ball, and he wasn't accurate. That's what happened.
Yeah, I think they said his footwork was off, and I mean, he obviously tried to get the ball to him, but his footwork was off. And I don't know. I just feel like he's going to get that down eventually. I think he's an electric player, and I think he's going to be with this team for a long time. He makes things happen. Hey, look, they scored 30 points. Okay, there was 5 touchdowns. There were 3 that were called back. Right? No, wait a minute. 3 that were called back, and 3 that he missed through. 2 to Ertz and 1 to Greg Ward, and 2 that were caught for touchdowns, but there were penalties. That's 5. Now, 2 of them happened one after the other. There was a touchdown pass to Ertz that was called back because of a penalty to Dillard. Then the next play, he overthrew Greg Ward, but then he did it 2 other times. The first series to Ertz, and another time to Ertz. So, I mean, Ertz could have had 3 touchdowns easy in that game. And think about this. this could have been a true track meet, and the Eagles could have possibly scored 50 points if they would have converted on everything. I think what killed them in the end was that they had to kick field goals. You can't kick field goals to beat Kansas City.
It goes back to coaching. I mean, if they're not disciplined, they're not playing discipline. Whose fault is it? I mean, the coach is supposed to put everybody in a position for them to really play, right? Every game, every time there's a touchdown or a reception, there's a penalty, and a stupid penalty. It's not even like, wise penalties.
A
It
lot of
seems
that
like
is,
to me there's a disconnect between the players and the coaches. That's
Oh,
just what I
That's a
get.
completely different subject.
yeah, we'll get to that.
Yeah, that's like,
Yeah. No, there's
But
a
I-
serious disconnect. Yeah, absolutely. While we're on the offense, let's stay with the offense, Jimmy. Let's talk about that revamped offensive line. Obviously, Samalu's out for the season. Brooks is out. We don't know how many more weeks on IR. The left tackle's out, maybe another week or two.
Marlotta.
And then Mulata, and then Lane Johnson with the personal reason. And as always, the only guy that's still left is Jason Kelsey. And Kelsey was unbelievable. I mean, he is unbelievable blocking downfield. But anyway, Jimmy, give me your thoughts on the line play last week.
Bunch of new guys. I thought they played well enough to win. They basically started 4 backups, and they did all right against a weak defensive line, I thought. Dillard committing 4 penalties, that's atrocious. Did I get that right? Was it 4?
Well, there were 4, and I think only 2 or 3 were accepted. But for the most part, he has played better. I mean, he's not as soft as what's advertised in the last year. I think he's going to be a pretty good backup on this team. That's just my feeling.
Yeah, they just got to line him up on the line. He'll be fine. I mean, I don't know why he's lined up so far back. I think he's afraid to get rushed around the side of him. But a lot of the penalties with the offense too that I'm seeing is we're throwing these quick screens, and Hurts is almost delaying his pass, but the linemen are already downfield blocking. So him waiting too long and then throwing it, that's causing the illegal man downfield. Like, how many have we racked up with those the last few weeks?
And I think a couple times it happened to Dillard, and it really, they were on RPOs. So it's really not his fault because he's taking his time. So the pass, throwing the pass out. So I give Dillard credit for blocking downfield, but it looks like he's trying to be as much like Kelsey, running downfield to make the block. So, I'm kind of encouraged. But the only thing I like to say is Kansas City, they're not a real good defensive line. They did get some pressure on Hurts, but Hurts is really, really good at escaping the pocket. And as I'm watching that game, I'm thinking, if Wentz was quarterbacking, would he have gotten sacked 6 times? I mean, I think it's possible he probably would have gotten sacked maybe 5 or 6 times, and they would have blamed the offensive line. So, it's the feel for the rush that the quarterback has too. And this goes back to being a smart, being able to get out of the pocket and have a feel for the rush. I think that Hurts steps up in the pocket a lot better than Wentz ever did. And I think that's, one of the good things about him. So, I think that Hurts makes the offensive line better together too. But I was really impressed with the offensive linemen that they had. Like Herbig did a really good job, and the other guy that they had playing right tackle, Driscoll, played really good too. So I think that there's a lot to be, thrilled about, I think, down the road. Well, let me bring this up to you. It just seems to me like there's some players that are not being used right. And as a result, I look at their body language and they look like they're getting either disinterested or a little pissed off that they're not getting the ball enough or not being able to make the plays because of the way they're being coached or the scheme. What do you think some of the players that you think are being misused?
Well, obviously, I mean, I don't even know if it's misused, but Miles Sanders isn't involved in the offense at all. And that's a big problem because he's probably your best offensive weapon on the team. and we're not using them at all. I understand that, Gainwell's great out the backfield, but so was Sanders when he first came out, and he's electric in the open field, and you gotta find ways to get him the ball in open space. Also, I mean, Jalen Reagor,
Yeah.
he's either not playing or he's Hurts ain't looking towards him. He's a great guy coming across the middle. You gotta get him in open space, or at least running across the linebacker's face. What I'm seeing out of him is it's almost like he's designed just to run defenders off or to bring corners out of the play for like quick screens and stuff. I don't really understand, what we're trying to do offensively besides, just get the ball out of Jalen Hurts' hands real quick. Defensively, obviously I talked about, I don't know what the scheme is that we're running, but having Wilson cover Tyreek Hill makes absolutely no sense to me. I mean, he's not a good player as it is, but why is he going to be on the best receiver on the field that day? And then Alex Singleton. Alex Singleton is I wouldn't say good. He's a decent in the box linebacker who can come up and stop the run, but he's playing 7 yards off, and he's only playing, zone coverage. It's really weird to see our linebackers. When you're a linebacker, you guys should. I'm sure you guys know this, but your first step is always up, and it's always to read the run. They're flat-footed and hopping around because they're not sure if who they're covering, but that's not their responsibility. Their responsibility should always be run first, and we're getting gashed up the middle. And I just don't understand what the coaches are asking our players to do. It doesn't make any sense to me.
Coming back to Reagor, Armand. So I was looking at it and see what happened. So he basically had 52 snaps. Watkins had 30 snaps, right? And yet he was targeted 7 times. Reagor was targeted only once. Does it mean that basically the coaches are not putting him in a position where he's going to be open so that Hurst gets close to him? Or maybe Hurst doesn't, feel comfortable throwing the ball because it's always covered.
Yeah.
And, it's it's not he only goes towards Smith. He's trying to look around, but obviously he's not open.
Yeah, no, he's not creating separation is from what I see. But I got to tell you, when he has the ball in his hands and he's in open space, he's electric. I mean, that end around or the reverse to him, I think it was on the first series. Boy, I'll tell you, that guy can move. So
maybe
I don't know.
Maybe it's coaching. I mean, the coaches are not putting the players in the right position for him to succeed. I don't know.
I see what you're saying, that he's not creating separation. But when I'm looking at the design of the play, it's only really meant for 1 or 2 guys. Everybody else is kind of getting in position, ready to block for the guys to get the ball, which is it's stupid. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
I noticed that.
Yeah, the scheme is it's basically flowed, And if that person was supposed to ball go to, it's not open, then what? There's no plan B.
Then Hurts runs. Runs.
Yeah, exactly. Is the plan A or are you running?
But this is so crazy because it's how quick and fast our defense is going to start picking this up, and it's going to be so easy to defend. What's going to be Sirianni's answer to it? I don't know what the hell we're doing.
It goes with the Hurst's the problem too. The minute he gets the ball, he's looking right at his first read. He's not even trying to fake it. So people are going to figure out, okay, this guy is
by the quarterback, and that's it.
Yeah.
No, that's right. But I think now getting back to the defense, I mean, I watched the game 3 different times from 3 different perspectives. The second time I watched it was purely from a defensive perspective. I think there's some players that I'll tell you, since we're really talking about the defense, let's go down the line here. Okay. Let's take some of the main players. You guys just tell me real quick, and we'll do this real quick, but just guys, just tell me if you think he's on or he's off, if he's not going to be with the team next year, if he's wasting our time or wasting money. We already talked about Fletcher Cox. What about Ryan Kerrigan?
He's
He's
gone.
on the team.
I think he's done.
Well,
done.
yeah, but it's a
He might
different
not make the
scheme for
season.
him. It's a different scheme for him. He played a lot without his hand in the dirt, and that's what they're asking him to do now since Brandon Graham got hurt. So in all fairness to him, like he's not, but he runs, you could tell that he's just older. He's not the same player that he was 5 years ago. I don't think he'll be here next year.
No.
Milton Williams.
He'll be here.
Oh yeah, no, I agree. I think he'll definitely be here. He needs to get stronger. He was double teamed sometimes, but when he was single teamed, he really wasn't getting much push. And I think that'll come in time. I think he'll get better, but he definitely needs to get stronger. What about Josh Sweat?
I'm a fan of him. I like him. I think he's going to be all right. I think he's going to be all right.
They just gave him $50 million contract.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
He's not going anywhere.
Yeah, he played. I thought he played. I thought he played pretty good, even though he had a couple of really silly penalties.
I was going to say, it looks like sometimes he's a little too anxious, but
Yeah, he is, but that's still because he's very young.
right.
Derek
exactly.
Barnett. Derek Barnett.
They should cut him.
He's going.
I don't think he's honestly. I don't think he's here next year. I mean,
That- So everybody in the stands were saying that on Sunday. Got to cut him. He's done. Get rid of him.
so you know what? Somebody should be smart enough to make shirts up before the next game, and it has a picture of Barnett, and the saying is, "It's always frigging him," like they said on WIP. That shirt and make it green. That shirt would sell big time in the stadium. I
There
think.
you go. Let's make him up. We'll go down there next weekend.
Yeah, he will not be with this team next year. Avante Maddox.
Yeah, he'll be here.
I think he's been playing pretty good. I think he's playing within himself. What about Steven Nelson?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, he's got a 1-year contract. I think he's getting beat some, but he's getting stuck with the best receiver a lot of times. He works hard though. That's the one thing I'll say. Let's go to the linebackers. Alex Singleton.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, he's the only one we got right now, right?
To me, he plays really hard.
Right.
I mean, he really hustles on every play. Comes from behind, makes tackles, and
I mean,
all.
that's the issue next year, right? Now, I mean, potentially we can have 2 or maybe 3 first-round picks, right?
Mhm.
Question is that what they're going to focus on. I think they should get like a stud linebacker to steady that middle of the field, because otherwise they're going to be, there's nobody right now. I mean, Singleton, he has good intentions, but I don't think he's really physically gifted to be a stud linebacker.
But you got to remember, something. A lot of schemes now are going a five deep package. So they're only going with 2 linebackers a lot. That's why Avery wasn't on the field much the other day. So they only need 2 linebackers out of them. I personally think that they need to give Bradley and maybe Davion Taylor some snaps down the road, and just let's just see what they're made of. So, I don't know what you guys think. We'll just do a couple more players. Anthony Harris.
A lot of these guys like him and Steven Nelson, I feel like it's basically going to depend if the defensive coordinator is still there. Like if the defensive coordinator is still here, I think they walk to go somewhere else. I don't think they want to play here.
I agree. But I think he's another guy I think that's interchangeable. But I think there's going to be a lot of there's going to be a changing of the guard, I think, of this entire defense. If not next year, maybe the end of this year. Let's real quick move on to next week's opponent, the Carolina Panthers. They lost to Dallas. What was it? 36-28, but the score wasn't as close as what the final score was. Dallas was actually up 36-14 early in the fourth quarter, and they were really starting to dominate the Panthers. They talk about how great they are at 3-1, but let's look at this realistically. the three teams they beat have a combined record of 4-8. So when I saw their game against Dallas, especially in the first half, they looked extremely fast. And what's unusual is that they normally only have 2 or 3 down linemen. They only have 2 or 3 guys. Many plays, they only had 2 guys that put their hand down in the dirt. But they're very, very fast, and this team blitzes up the middle a lot. They have safeties. I don't know what the guy's name is, but he was number 7. He was extremely fast. I'm just curious. I mean, Will, how do you think they're going to handle their blitz next week?
I think they can pick up the blitz pretty well. I don't really have a problem with the Eagles' offensive line, and even their running backs picking up the blitz. It's more so Hurts getting nervous and throwing the ball away too quick or scrambling too much. You know, a lot of things people overlook with the Panthers is they do have the top 5 defense. Like, their defense is really good. So you got to kind of respect that. You know, I think it's going to be a close game, but still worries me.
Well, a lot of it depends on if Christian McCaffrey plays.
I think
They
he's
don't
out.
have what's this?
I think he's out, right? He's out multiple
Well,
weeks.
no,
Yeah.
well, they're going to determine tomorrow. The players really start to come back on Wednesday before the game. And I think the plan is that he was going to try to work out with the team. He will be a big boost for them. I mean, last week they were using some guy named Chuba Hubbard, a rookie from Oklahoma State, who's pretty good. But that's it for running back. So I think if McCaffrey plays and he's 90-95%, he could run all day on this defense. What do you think, Vahe?
Oh, absolutely. But I think it's going to be out. I think the injury that he got will be a few weeks injury. But coming back to the Panthers, you know, his coach used to be the coach for the Temple, right? Matt.
Yeah.
And he went to Baylor, and now it's in NFL. I wish that the Eagles picked him up as a coach.
Every team he went to,
He's a
the
winner.
team got better.
Yep.
I loved what he did. Was it his first year of the draft where he drafted all defensive guys? I love that. I love that he did that. I love that. He went.
Well, that's what the Eagles need to do next year. I mean, if they're not going to go for a quarterback, they should go first, second, and third all defense, because their defense sucks. I mean, there's anybody right now. And anybody can run, you know, all over them.
That's what I'm saying. I don't even know if McCaffrey's going to mean anything. Didn't we give up 100 yards to just about every back this year?
Yeah, that's true. But I mean, let's look at, I mean, you're talking about that they drafted, like Jimmy, you were talking about that, you know, that Rule just went after the defensive players. They don't have a ton of big time skill players. I mean, wide receiver, basically, yeah, DJ Moore is it, the guy from Philly that went to Imhotep Charter here in Philly. Outside of him, like they got Terrence Marshall that they got from in the draft from LSU, but he's not playing that much. And you know, and if McCaffrey's not playing, I think that, you know, this could be a game that the Eagles could really do good at. I think that Sam Darnold could be a real problem because he is a true dual threat quarterback. True dual threat. Will, I think he's with the right team. He's going to be a lot better with he's very like set in his place now with Carolina as opposed to when he was with the Jets. So
The line is only -4, right? So it tells you almost like an even game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I think it's
that's
a
it.
good- I think it's going to be a good test for the Eagles to see where they're at on Sunday. Like going into the Kansas City game, I mean, it was pretty much an unwinnable game, but this game is winnable, and I think it's a good measuring stick to see where you're at.
Yeah,
Well, you
On
know,
the road in Carolina.
Yeah, and you know, it's funny, after the Dallas game, none of us had them beating Carolina. I think they can beat that team. But Carolina is good. But Dallas wore them down. Dallas has big players. Dallas wore Carolina down. And you know, I just think that the Eagles have a really good chance. A lot of it depends on the scheme that they use and how their players play defense. So, But,
And
you
plus
know,
the Dallas,
other-
they really draft well. I mean, they have a stud team. They have like really good players in skill positions.
yeah, no, you're right. They
I hate to say
definitely
that,
do.
you know, but they do have that.
They drafted really well, like you said, right? They drafted really well over the last 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, so that's something hopefully the Eagles will do. But let's just end this with the predictions now. Last week was really interesting. I'm not going to give you my prediction because I lost again. I picked the Eagles. The final score was what, 42-30?
Mhm.
Okay. Jimmy had, all three of you guys had Kansas City winning. Jimmy had 38-17. Vahe had 40-20. Will had 41-21. I got to tell you, if the Eagles didn't get lucky on that last touchdown, it would have been 40. It would have been 42-23. So since I don't know, since you three were close, I guess I should pick the winner. There's no doubt that Will is right there this week. It's definitely Will. So Jimmy's got 2. Will's got 1. Vahe, the old men are just behind here, so we're going to have to pick it up down the pike.
Yeah.
Let's
Maybe
end
next
this up
week.
with predictions. They said the weather's supposed to be nice and cool down in Carolina. No wind, no rain, tentatively right now for Sunday. Will, since you won last week, give me your prediction.
I do think it's going to be a closer game. But I'm still going. I'm going with Carolina 28, Eagles 24.
Vahe?
Oh, I thought maybe Jim was going to go first.
Oh, Jimmy, go ahead. Yeah,
I'm
the old
laughing
men
because-
need more
I'm
time to think.
laughing because I'm right with you, Will. I was thinking more like Carolina 28, Eagles 24. I'm right with you, dude. We're on the same page.
Let's go. All right. We're
gonna go
both
to
getting
Saint-
next week.
Yeah, but if it's a tie, you're going to have to play in overtime then. What are you going to do, Jim? You got to go with something different.
I'll go Carolina. What do you have, Will? What was it again you had?
28-24.
I'll go Carolina 27, Eagles 21.
Vahe?
Yeah, I mean, the thing is that deep inside, I want the Eagles to win, but the defense that we have, man,
Yes.
they suck. Carolina, I would say 30, the Eagles 1.
30-21?
Mhm.
Is that what you said?
Yes, 30 Eagle. I mean, Carolina 30, the Eagles 21.
Okay, all of you are Carolina.
Armin, before you pick the Eagles, I need you to really tell me how you can look at the Eagles defense and feel confident that the Eagles will win a game.
Well, if Christian McCaffrey is not playing, I think they're going to have a little better time stopping Chuba Hubbard. Okay. And if he does play, you know he's not going to be 100%. I say this game's going to be tied at the end of regulation, 21-21, and the Eagles are going to win out 24-21 on an Elliott field goal.
Bonus
I'm
points.
going to get my first win somehow here. So, all right, let's end it with that. Another one in the books. We'll see you next week, guys.
All right, see you guys.
Take care.
Yeah.